Okay, good morning, grade 11. This week we're going to be looking at our non-lit bodies of works. First of all, thank you for your feedback. Thank you for those of you who did fill in your feedback forms. The general consensus seemed to be the group work you didn't find particularly useful because some of you felt certain members of the class were being lazy. Your words, not mine. And you genuinely felt, while you appreciated the study guide was useful, that it was a bit repetitive, doing it every week. I completely understand that. I know it's not the most interesting thing, but it is really useful to compile everything in one place. And obviously, remember, this will be uploaded to your student, your learner portfolios later. So just bear with it. But generally, as two classes, your attitude has been really good, so keep it up. Keep working at the same level you're working. You're doing really well. So this week we are going to be looking at analyzing a film, and we're going to quickly look at Act 2, Scene 1, and Act 3, Scene 2, that were analysed last week by our diligent students. You're going to watch our non-lit bodies of work, and then we're going to analyse them. So first of all, if you look on the Google Docs from last week, which was called A Body of Work to Pair with Macbeth, and then either HL or SLHL2, there is analysis of Act 2, Scene 1, and Act 3, Scene 2. First things first, just post a comment on the analysis. You all know how to post a comment on Google Slides. Just highlight the text and then go to add comment, either saying something that they've done really well or something that could be improved. Remember, be constructive. Once you've done that, copy the analysis to your study guide to the key scene analysis section. If you want to add stuff in you feel they've missed, add it in. If you're happy to copy as it is, then that's fine. We're not going to have any more analysis this week because your task this week is going to be quite long. Remember, Friday is a holiday. So without much further ado, I'm going to explain which bodies of works were chosen and what's going to happen next. So from HL only class, that was pretty straightforward. It was Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, which won fairly convincingly. So thank you to everyone who voted. If you didn't vote, your vote could have made a difference. There wasn't much in it, but you missed out. So thank you to Alicia for coming up with that. So that's what we're going to look at. That's what we're going to watch. That's going to be our non-lit body of work. For SLHL, it was a bit more complicated. So we had a draw between Money and between You, the TV series. This is actually meant to be Money Heist, I think, but Ireland forgot. I checked out both of them over the weekend. I came to the conclusion that while they were definitely had links with Macbeth, there were parts that were probably not suitable. And so in the interest of caution, I decided not to recommend for them to study, because there are parts that are possibly not suitable for diligent, sensitive young students like yourself. So then we came to the Narcos, which I already also checked out and also is not really suitable. Political cartoons about Adolf Hitler by David Lowe. I really love this body of work. I think it's fantastic. David Lowe is one of my favorite cartoonists. But we're going to save this for next term, where we look at intertextuality, where we look at The Quiet American, while we look at Paradise of the Blinds, because we're going to be doing political cartoons next term. So it's a brilliant body of work. So basically, narrowing down all the other angles that were either sort of suitable and had people vote for them, we came up with Gladiator, which I think is suitable. And also, I think there are lots of links there. So thank you. Sorry if you, if I didn't choose your option, but as I said, I did look through, and some of them, they're just not really suitable. and it's not something that I really want to recommend because I still have to be responsible about what I recommend we study. So we're going to look at Gladiator. Okay. So basically, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to go away and you're going to watch them. So HO, you're going to watch Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. SLHO2, you're going to watch Gladiator. There are links on the Google Docs from last week, which is called Body of Work to Pair with Macbeth. Go away and watch it. Nice and simple. So once you've done that, we're going to look at analysis, how to analyze it. So look at the notes below. I'm going to go through and talk about this and explain it. And I've summarized all of these in a Google Doc, which I've shared with you, called Analysing Film Essentials. Okay. And what you're going to do is you're going to obviously analyze the film. You can choose any media to express your analysis. So you can do this in a Google Docs. You can make visual notes. You can even make a sort of graphic storyboard. You can make a video of yourself explaining your analysis. I don't mind. I want you to have the choice to do whatever's comfortable for you, as long as you upload your analysis to Manage Back by next Monday. Okay, so it's really up to you. So don't feel you have to sort of sit at your computer and Google Docs. So when we analyze a film, we look at these key points: structure and plots, settings, characterizations, themes, symbols, motifs, presentation, and screenplay. So I'm not going to go through all of these. For example, I'm not going to really go through themes, symbols, and motifs because you're all expert on this. I'm not really going to go through settings because I think we all know how to analyze a setting. I'm going to look at structure and plots. I'm going to look a bit at stereotypes. I'm going to look at presentation and screenplay though. So for structure or plots, you'll find that most films use the Hollywood model for structure. And as you can see, it's similar to Freytag's pyramid, but you'll notice you have this prelude where you have increased intensity, which is often why, for example, in Gladiator, there is a battle at the beginning of the film. Okay, and you have presentation, elaboration, you have the point of no return, then you have your escalation of conflict, your climax, your fade out, and finally your resolution. You'll also find that your film will almost certainly have major and minor plots. So do they mirror each other? Do they all have the same escalation of conflict or climax or resolution? Sometimes they will, sometimes they won't. So think about that. Characterization, I'm not going to go through all of the characterization questions from before. They're still relevant, but I'm not going to go through and explain because I think you're also experts on this. But think about this. Films often include stereotypes. Characters may only appear on screen for a couple of minutes. You don't have the chance to do characterization in the way you would possibly in a novel or a play. And while it's not as important they have a sort of fully developed personality, it is important that the audience will recognize them as being a certain type. So films tend to use stereotypes. So think about the following questions. So does this character represent a stereotype? And if so, what are the characteristics of this stereotype? What do we expect from this stereotype? And what effect does the stereotype have on the reader's interpretations? And obviously, HL that are doing Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Disney films full of stereotypes. So presentation. So have a look at the explanation for each of the different factors. So really think about the following questions. How does each film make use of camera, shots, angles, and movement? And what kind of effect does the use of camera have on the audience in each film? So I'm not a film expert, and in fact, those of you who are doing film, you will be much better at this than me, but these are some basics. So first of all, we look at camera shots. You have an extreme long shot, you have long shot, middle shot, close-up, and extreme close-up. And I'm just going to sort of go through and explain some use of extreme long shots in the film and the effect they can have. And, do watch through the whole video. I'm not going to go through the whole video, but the example, this is the opening of The Hateful Eight. It's a Quentin Tarantino film. It's an extreme long shot. And it's really effective because it gives you a sense of the scale of how isolated the characters are and that really sets up the whole premise of the movie, which is about this isolation and the tension that builds. So it's a really extreme long shot, because if you look at the scale here, how small these horses and carriages are compared to nature, it really gives us a sense of scale of grandeur. So next we have camera angle. So this is when the subject is seen from above. We have high angle when you look down on the subject, obviously eye level, low angle. And and we did sort of cover this a bit in photography. Again, do watch this video. And it explains, this video is really good, explains the why bird's eye shots are used. Sometimes to give a sense of magnitude, for you to understand. Here's an example from The Matrix, how serious things are, how epic things are. Sometimes to show that somebody is alone, in solitude. For example, 127 Hours here, where he's trapped in the cave. Sometimes to show movement. For example, in I Am Legend, to show how small they are, or in Casino. And sometimes because it's to show their demise. And often the audience will know something the main character doesn't, and often this leads to death. And it's almost like the effect of they are floating up to, their soul is floating up to heaven, and sometimes to give a sense of release, to release that tension. So do watch these videos the whole way through. They're very, very good. And finally, camera movement. Obviously we have pan, we have tilt, we have dolly, we have handheld, we have zoom. I'm just going to quickly show you some examples of the dolly zoom effect and why it's effective. And go through these, have a look. You're not expected to be film experts, but you are expected to be able to talk a bit about the techniques that are used. And so the example that I just want to show you is from Jaws. It's a very, very famous use of the dolly zoom effect. And as you can see, it zooms in on that character. And it is almost like the realization of everything is hitting home. And also, like it says here, it gives a sort of sense of a sort of warp in time, a sort of warp in dimension. It's a sort of eerie feeling. It's sometimes called the vertigo effect. Okay. And last but very importantly, screenplay, because when we analyze a film, we still should have some basis in language. So the screenplay is still important to focus on. So what stylistic features are in the screenplay? What effect do they have? Things like metaphors, colloquial language, the rule of three. Which characters speak the most and why? Does the dialogue drive the plot? Or is it actually the action, or is it the dialogue that drives the plot? And you'll see in some films the dialogue's very important. In other films, especially some Hollywood films, dialogue's not really important. So as I said, this has been shared with you. These are the points you need to cover in your analysis, and it is completely up to you how you want to do this. Okay, so you have the freedom to explore it in any way you want, but it has to be done by Monday. Okay, so that is your week's task. I will be on Google Hangouts, available to answer any questions. Thank you and have a good week.